It's a very flat bottom hull and fully loaded. You only drew about 3.5 feet of water. Around, they first reverse the paddle wheel to see if they could wash the gravel out. And if that didn't work, then they'd run a cable to shore. And they would try everything before they pull these things out, because that was about a 32-hour operation. They take those poles and they hook them down to the rigid bottom, and then hook that heavy tackle onto the deck rings, on the deck, and then the live end of that system on the windlass. And they actually either lift the bow out of the water and go backwards or forwards or sideways. There's a lower engine room here. There's a big vacuum pump down below as well, and there's large servo motors as well for the steering systems. There's a hydraulic steering system, by the way. This pump right here controls the steering, and this small set of cables, which you'll see later on when we get up to the wheelhouse, was controlled just by a simple lever. That's how they steered the boat. Turn right around and carry on. Different service pumps that just provide water to various sections of the boat. And essentially, this is the engine. Have a look.
You can walk in there and just take a look inside.
That was this is actually the chief steward's cabin.
The cabin steward. He was also responsible for ordering all the groceries and he was also really responsible for all creature comforts on the boat. He also doubled in terms of administering first aid, and he also did chaplain work.
Nice. And you've already experienced your first aspect of IA this morning, and that is this aircraft itself. The DC-3's as a design goes back at least 50, or over 50 years.
Cloud, of course, is probably scaring a little bit of it.
This come out of now, during the company years, was the general manager's residence, and we use that as our information center. I'll walk as we're heading this direction. Operated 12 months of the year, this site. Mental informing the last company, which as we call referred to as YCC, or Yukon Consolidated Gold. The large wagon used as hauling between the compound into the creeks, also used a lot between Mayo Landing and to take ore to the Keno.
And they not only monitored it initially with the prospecting and then had a map, survey map, showing where the dredge should go, but they would monitor it all the time.
So you can punch for 20 minutes, you can take that bit off, then you can cup for 2 or 3 strokes. Now as you cup, you're driving the sand up the cup, okay? Then you pull that as a sample and you do your panning technique to assay the rock, and then you go down for another 20 minutes or something. And the ductwork, you can follow the amount of polluted air in this place was unbelievable when they were working, because remember, they were working in the winter with the doors shut, the windows shut, 14 feet long. He put the tubes on the wire cutters, and he bought a half-ton truck, and he drove up the highway, snip, 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 snip. He bought the power line from all the power stations into this valley. On the first deal he made 25,000. He came back and gave YCGC a fixed sum, nobody knows what it was, for the right to scrap everything that was on their territory. Everything.
Quite an anvil.
Where it was cool, here on the table, they would take a chip hammer and they would knock that slag off and clean their brick, and then it would be recorded and marked and with the company stamp done through the office, the regular, the way it's recorded. And it was almost like a crushing process in this amalgamating drum, and they would tumble that with a steel ball.
Buckets were taken off. She was put on a shelf for the winter. Everybody thinking they would come back in the spring and do the overhaul. Well, what happened was the price of gold was pegged. YCGC found out it was costing them about $37 to produce $35 worth of gold. Anyway, spun it right round and pointed it that way, and she sank in 22 feet of water. Since then, Art Fry, the only miner to stay mining in this valley during the shutdown period, mined, but mining slowly. He was
Digging. This is the mine fake, so to speak. I'll do a short briefing here, and this item here, just to orient you to the components in the dredge, so that you'll be able to follow the flow. Okay, we're now looking at the back end of the dredge. Over there, just lying on the ground, you can see the bucket line to the top and dumps inside. The pond itself is formed in the creek bed. What they'll do is they'll dam up the creek behind the dredge, fill up a reservoir. The dredge will dig itself a pit to float in. You can roughly see the outline of the hull here.
I think it is, yeah. There's no reason to withdraw this part out. All I want to do is replace the upper teeth. Oh yeah, is doing a study on the feasibility of refloating, raising this machine.
Oh,
and what?
Well, there's another one just the same size at the bottom, making sure it doesn't come out too fast. Okay, the large gear wheels in here are the drive wheels for the trommel. It's all electric, direct drive, and these things just sort of hold it in place. Upstairs, the direct drive of this, and one of the smaller ones are the lighter stores, small blacksmiths. And six, I guess, usually about 4 men who were stationed on either side to put in the dead men, move cables, and take care of the other things as part of the land.
You go with 1.5 inch cables is several hundred feet long.
that was the sort of put a bedrock all the way up.
And that's it as far as this particular house.
And all the lights are connected.
Yeah, between there and there, and as far as the dredge has been, there's nothing worth going after if you're beating bedrock.
Dredge was always the same.
We have 6 different companies, and we use but they don't run